Welcome, welcome. Come on in to Moments of Empowerment and Inspiration. I'm your host, Bear Duffy Martin, aka Dr. Bear. As you know, we have been on the theme winning in spite of the challenge. And all of us have dealt with challenges, but the good part about it is that we are winners. And so you're getting ready for a great presentation tonight. And the person you're going to hear is Dr. Karen Mathews, MD. And she's the Director of Health Services at Central State University, also retired military doctor. And you will be blessed by what she's going to share. She's going to talk about the 6 pillars of health, because there are 6 ways we can control our health. And so she's got some good information. So come on, tag somebody, tell them, come on, listen to what Dr. Mathews has to say. Also, I want to give special thanks to you that supported and really overwhelmingly surprised me with the 5 weeks of healing of the heart. We dealt with all kinds of issues, everything like orphan spirits, things that things that we can't deal with, and things that we cannot heal, cannot get erased out of our minds, bitter root judgment, inner vows. We had so many things that we dealt with, and we ended on Tuesday night with just a bang. God was just there with us as we nailed the different things to the cross that we had gotten rid of. So I am just so excited. Many people were asking, can we do it again? Can we have session 2? Well, we're praying about it and seeing where God says go for 2025. But I want to say that it's not over this year. We have something exciting to share with you on October the 19th at from 9:30 to 1:30. And it's called Unforeseen Parent Challenges. It's going to be workshop, free workshop and seminar and luncheon. But space is limited, first come, first serve. But we need you to call in by the 16th of October and let us know that you're going to attend so that we will have materials and definitely enough food for you. And these are some of the workshop topics. The heart of a man, which Bishop Martin himself will teach. And therefore, you can invite the men in your life to come as well. Also, grief with the healing and the aftermath. Chaplain Shelley is going to deal with grief and healing and the aftermath. Not only that, but for our young ladies that are not moms and those that are not parents yet. I'm not a mom or dad yet. Enjoy your life. So we do have that available for the young folks for their workshop. And then heart issues that continue that Sister Bobby will share. Heart issues that will continue. So I want to invite you to be a part. That's October the 19th from 9:30 to 1:30. You can call in to the church, and the number is 937-279-0913. We asked you to just let us know, hey, I want to come, and we will look forward to seeing you. So now get ready to hear Dr. Karen Mathews dealing with the 6 pillars of health. God bless.
Greetings, Maranatha family and friends. Let us exalt Christ in all that we do. Please govern yourselves to these announcements. We offer various weekly Bible study sessions for different age groups. Elder Oliva DeLegal leads Seasoned Saints on Mondays from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Hype Student Ministries is held every Tuesday at 7 p.m. online via Zoom by Pastor Charles and Roxanne Smith. On Wednesdays, there is an in-person noon Bible study in Maranatha's chapel, as well as Walk Through the Bible with Sister Jane Gaines from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., followed by Bishop Truman Martin's live Wednesday Bible study broadcast on Maranatha's Facebook page. Thursdays are for young adults to connect online for a Bible study session with Sister Bobby Watkins and Brother Greg Thompson. Anyone can join and find spiritual nourishment in these studies. 2 Timothy 2 verse 15 encourages us to study and show ourselves approved unto God. A workman needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Attention! Maranatha Worship Center family, we invite you online to view Dr. Bev Martin's powerful weekly informative show called Moments of Empowerment and Inspiration every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Don't miss out. Our theme is Winning in Spite of the Challenge. Join us on Facebook Live. Like, share, and comment, and hear the many shouts of victory and triumph through Christ Jesus our Lord.
We are thrilled to announce that the Wilberforce Choir will be performing live in concert at the Maranatha Worship Center on Sunday, September 29th at 4 p.m.
Join us early Saturday morning for our community prayer walk, starting at 6 a.m. in the morning with Bishop Truman Martin.
Let us all pick up our phones and dial in prayer, just 1 hour every Friday night from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. Call in at 605-313-4819. The code is 996352#. The Bible says, this is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us.
The New Wine Young Adult Ministry is excited to announce a Bible study party named Colored by God and invites everyone to join. RSVP before September 19th. The party will be held on Sunday, September 22nd, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Maranatha Worship Center. You can RSVP by contacting Brother Greg or Sister Bobby at 937-279-0913.
Attention all men who are passionate about serving in prison ministry. If you're free on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. for 10 to 12 weeks and would like to assist in teaching Stepping Up to Courageous Manhood classes, we'd love to have you on board. To learn more, please reach out to Minister Greg Thompson or Bishop Truman Martin. Thank you. Mark your calendars. Join us for a special event as we celebrate our pastors' appreciation and their 50th wedding anniversary. The celebration will take place from December 13th through the 15th, and we hope you will be able to join us. Don't miss out on this wonderful opportunity to show our appreciation and celebrate this special milestone with our beloved pastors. See you there.
As Bishop Truman Martin and Dr. Bev would always say, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So let's all stay committed, connected, and encouraged in Jesus' name.
Dr. Karen Mathews is a board-certified family physician with 35 plus years of experience. She joined Central State University in 2011 and serves as Executive Director of Health and Psychological Services. In this role, she's responsible for the daily operations of a health and wellness center, which includes the health clinic, counseling services, and the Office of Academic Empowerment and Accessibility. She uses the multiple dimensions of wellness model to create a holistic environment for healing and contributes to programming designed to create informed, empowered young adults. Dr. Mathews received a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Bowling Green University, a Master's of Health Administration degree from Ohio University, and an MD medical degree from Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis. She enjoyed a 26-year, on top of all of that, right? The 26-year Air Force career during which she held clinical, teaching, administrative, and command assignments before she retired as a colonel. Amen. All right. Dr. Mathews has numerous professional affiliations, including the American Medical Association, the National Medical Association, the American
Here are some
College
results from a search.
Health Association, and the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Her special area of interest is disease prevention. She attends Mount Eden Missionary Baptist Church and is a member of their wellness committee. So I bring before you today Dr. Karen Mathews.
Well, thank you very much. I feel special today. I feel blessed because I am in the house of the Lord. But I also feel special because I was invited to your first Family Life Conference. So I am a family physician. So what does that mean? It means that I can take care of you essentially from the cradle to when you leave this earth. And we are trained to look at the entire system, and that includes multiple dimensions. We know that a makeup of a person is just not the body and living cells. We know there are other connections. There's the emotional, the spiritual. And I would just invite you that if you are ever in the Wilberforce, Ohio area, near Central State University, feel free to come on campus to my health center. I will gladly give you a tour. We have some things that you may not find in a regular clinic. We've got a relaxation room with massage chairs, and they're open to students and faculty. We've got musical instruments scattered throughout our clinic.
Wow.
And we know that music can be soothing and healing, and college can be stressful. We've got an emotional support animal on campus who comes to our clinic and has truly helped individuals who have gone through grief. We've got the wonderful Dr. Bev, as I call her, whose focus is helping students deal with grief, especially unexpected grief. So I'm going to start by saying that I'm going to share some things with you that I think you may not have heard before. So we're going to talk about health and wellness. We're going to talk about nutrition, and we're going to talk about how you move, how often you move in the fitness category. But I hope to introduce to you some other components that are very important. So I want to start off by talking about this concept of provider. Okay, so we know who the provider is, right? Amen. But in the healthcare industry, the term provider refers to a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, maybe a podiatrist, a chiropractor. But I ask you the question, do they truly provide you health? Do they give you help, or do they give you guidance? Do they perform procedures which may not necessarily guarantee good health? So I want you to hang on to that concept as we explore some other things. So there is a fairly new organization called the Academy of Lifestyle Medicine. Unlike some other academies, this one's only been around about 20 years. But it's based and grounded in common sense. The focus is on teaching you how to take care of yourself. Amen. So you don't get sick. Amen. So you don't have to come to people like me and get multiple prescriptions. Amen. This, I think, makes a lot more sense. Yes. Amen. Why not prevent disease instead of having you being in the hospital or going to the clinic to take care of the disease? So the focus is on prevention, and I will share some things about that. So it's probably no surprise whatsoever that many, if not most, diseases, including heart attacks, high blood pressure, diabetes, most of them are caused by lifestyle choices, right? Yes. So it only makes sense that if we change our lifestyle, guess what? We can benefit. So I'm not going to put people on the spot, but I want this to be interactive. I love audiences like this. My sweet spot is about 15. You know, I can talk to 2 and be just as satisfied, or I can talk to 250. But the sweet spot is around 15 to 20 because I can make eye contact with folks and I feel like I have a direct engagement. So I may ask you some questions. Feel free to answer. If you don't want, I may ask you to raise your hands. That may be easier. So a little bit more information about me so you understand where I'm coming from. A lot of people on the weekends, they may go shopping, grocery shopping, to a concert. I love going to health fairs. I'm kind of addicted. If there's a health fair out there, I will try to find it because I want to see what new information is out there, what information other people are sharing with us. So, 80% of most of the diseases that we see today are due to tobacco, not moving enough so that there are consequences of being overweight. There's just no doubt about that. So why not have a special partnership between you and your doctor or your nurse provider so he or she is guiding you along the pathway towards you being the one who identifies what's going on and corrects that. So that means there's got to be some accountability on me too. And it also means that this is a long-term endeavor. It's not a short thing where you get a prescription and 10 days later you're all better. Lifestyle changes happen generally very intently and over time. The benefits, you have the control. It saves money, and guess what? It causes less burnout for doctors. Do doctors get burned out? Oh, sure they do. I'll tell you that right now. And when you work a 36 to 40 hour shift, I'm not talking about a 36 to 40 hour week, but when you work a 36 to 40 hour shift, and that has happened, especially in the training years, as you get older, you're constantly trying to find ways to stay helpful, but still be efficient. So if there's this collaborative partnership between you and your doctor gets burned out, guess what? He or she is going to be a lot happier and do a better job for you. I guarantee that. Okay, so I talked about two of the pillars, and I'm not sure if some of you got a handout on the way in. You don't have to have it as I'm speaking. This is the main one. I just find that it's just helpful to remind you about what these pillars are. Like I say, two of them we've heard before and are common sense. So I'm going to focus on the four you may not have been taught to a lot. And the first one I'm going to talk about is sleep. Has anyone in this room ever been given a sleep prescription by his or her doctor or nurse practitioner or whatever? Has anyone ever been given a sleep prescription? I know I haven't. So why is sleep so important? First of all, how much sleep ideally should adults get? And anyone can volunteer.
I've heard between 7 to 8.
You're good. Excellent. You can maybe come up here and be my side. Right. 7 to 8. Now keep in mind, everybody's a little bit different, but that's the range. If it's significantly under 7, like 6, 5, and 4, and a lot of people operate on 4 to 5 hours. Or if it's significantly above 7, like 9 or 10, that actually can be too much. But a happy medium is 7 hours. Now, when I talk about sleep, I'm going to give you some descriptors of sleep. That's just not going to bed, turning on your alarm clock, and waking up when it goes off, or waking up when you feel like it. The sleep should be restorative. It should leave you rejuvenated. It should leave you refreshed. Now, you don't have to answer this out aloud, but how many of you, when you wake up every morning, feel restored, rejuvenated, and refreshed? Because I can tell you, I don't. Part of it may be your environment. People can not understand why when I was deployed and sleeping in a tent on a cot that was uncomfortable, knowing that maybe there was danger within 2 miles, I tended to get some of the best sleep of my life. Why is that? Because when you're deployed, you're sleeping in a tent or a hutch, it's regimented. The time that the lights go out is typically about 9 o'clock, and the time the lights come on is between 5 or 6. And rarely is there TV, or was there TV in my time. So you were forced to just enjoy the darkness and sleep. No barking dogs, no argument of sisters, just that peace and quiet. So for restorative, regenerated sleep, you want to practice sleep hygiene. And I like talking about that because many people have never heard of that term. What is sleep hygiene?
Wow.
Does that mean you take a bath before you go to sleep? No. Sleep hygiene is a series of things that you do to set yourself up for a good rest. So that means, in general, going to bed the same time every night and getting up the same time roughly within that hour window every morning, according to your circadian rhythm. Now, for most of the world, most people go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning. But what if you work an overnight shift? Your rhythm's going to be opposite, correct?
Yes.
It also means having a wind down, calming session before you go to bed. Maybe watching a screaming, scary movie, eating a big bowl of popcorn. Maybe you got home from work late and you had a big meal after 8 o'clock and you know you're going to go to bed at 10:30, or maybe drinking some caffeine drinks like coffee before you go to bed. That's not setting you up to go to sleep. Now, I don't know what it is about me. I can drink coffee all day long and still go to sleep, which probably points to sleep deprivation. But in general, you want to maybe get in bed, not watch a cowboy movie, maybe listen to some relaxing movie, pray, think calmness, because the goal is to wake you up refreshed. So, what are the benefits? Certainly mood. Waking up in a good mood, who wouldn't want to do that? And studies have shown that when you get a good night's sleep, guess what? Your performance is better. Also, many studies have shown that people who wake up intermittently in the night and don't get a good night's sleep are more prone to heart attacks and cardiovascular disease. Their immune system isn't as robust. So those basic things that you heard when you were growing up, you should get a good night's sleep, you should get exposure to the sun, you should drink plenty of fluid, they were grounded in fact. So I call the 4 pillars that most people haven't heard of, the 4 S's. Sleep, getting a good night's sleep, avoiding stress, avoiding substances that you shouldn't be taking, and also maintaining social connections. So, is it possible to avoid stress? Absolutely not. If you are living, it is impossible. If you're married, it is impossible, right? If you got children, it's impossible. If you go to a job and interface with others, it is impossible to avoid stress. But there can be good stress that keeps you on your toes. But stress that is continuous, nonstop, that causes severe anxiety, that is not good. And stress, we know for a fact, what does that do? It can raise your blood pressure. High blood pressure, what? Is a risk factor for heart disease. I was preparing for a presentation maybe about a year ago, and I always like to read to stay updated, and I discovered that stress can actually change the lining in your vessels that can make you more prone to heart disease. And I didn't realize that. So if you think about the 1950s and 60s movies where the doctors weren't as sophisticated as we are, they would basically tell people, go home and take 6 weeks off from work. Stay away from the stress. And again, there was some truth behind that. We really need to practice self-care and self-love. Whether that's carving out time to get a facial, gardening, doing aerobics, meeting up with your prayer group, that is so vitally important. Okay, social connections. This is kind of a common sense. What this says is that when you tend to be a loner, you probably are not going to have as satisfactory a life or as long a life. And when you come to those rough spots in your life, if you don't have a group of people that you can connect with, a community family, if you will, that can be your biological immediate family, it can be your church family, it can be your girlfriends, your guy friends, it can be some people at work that you know especially well. It's important to have those connections to be able to reach out to people, especially to get to the rough spots. Now, I really never understood this, but I have read more than once that people who are married or have a lifetime close partner tend to have overall less disease and less illnesses. And I thought, well, okay, I think it depends on the quality of the relationship, the quality of the marriage, because I know marriage can sometimes be stressful. But the point is, there's always someone in their immediate space that they can turn to, that they can connect to. And that is vitally, vitally important. So I want to talk about the ones that you know about, nutrition. And I'm going to avoid using the term diet. And I'm going to say that even though the healthcare industry and myself, we encourage you to eat healthy. And I'll talk about that in a minute. We never want to say never, never, never. Because number one, you get more accomplished with sugar, right, than with vinegar. And for some people, if you say you can't have that, guess what? They're going to sneak and eat it. So in a lot of circles, they don't like using the term diabetic diet because someone who has diabetes can eat many foods, but maybe a small piece on a special occasion. So I want people to understand that you don't have to deprive yourself of life's joys, but you need to understand the consequences. So there's some words you may have heard. Whole foods, plant-based foods, unprocessed, or minimally processed. Basically that means if you can eat an apple instead of drinking apple juice, that's better. If you can eat an orange instead of drinking orange juice, and if you buy it from the store, it may have extra added sugar. Because here's the thing, juices taste good, I love them, but when you eat the natural fruit, there's the fiber that number one helps with digestion, and it helps with sugar spikes, avoiding sugar spikes. So that's important for people with diabetes. So think whole, less processed fruits and veggies. Now, I have had people tell me, I don't do vegetables. What do you mean you don't do vegetables? I'm a meat and potatoes man. I said, well, don't you sometimes have some green beans and some maybe some Brussels sprouts or some greens. What about some greens? There are literally some people that have an aversion to vegetables. So sometimes you gotta sneak them in, right? So when I say sneak them in, I mean chop them up finely and perhaps add them to sauces. I grew up in a household where my mom put in her spaghetti sauce carrots and celery in addition to onions and green peppers. And so to this day, when I cook spaghetti, I'm looking for not only onions and green peppers, but I feel if I'm gonna do it right, I like to throw in some celery and some carrots. That's why I like Paul Newman's Socceroni spaghetti sauce, because it's got a little bit of everything, and it reminds me of my mom. So that's just something that I'm sharing with you. It doesn't have to be complicated. Think of a plate of food. Cut the plate in half, figuratively, and half the plate should be fruits and vegetables. So I don't feel right at the end of the day if I haven't had something green. I love sugar snap peas. I don't know if you all know what they are, but a friend, one of my sorority sisters, introduced me to them about 10 years ago, and I like them raw. They're easy to package, they're easy to process. You can put them in ramen noodles, which is a staple on a college campus, and they're very healthy and very nutritious. Find what you like and say, okay, I'm not gonna go a day without having a vegetable. That's the minimum. You don't have to be bound by, well, you have to have this, the best thing for you is what you know you are going to consume on a regular basis. It's just like during the COVID pandemic, people would ask me, well, what is the best mask to wear? Well, I could give them the scientific answer, but the best mask for them to wear was the mask that they were going to keep on their face. It wasn't too uncomfortable, right? Common sense. So we need to approach this in a common sense way that's easy for individuals to do. Physical activity. So I must confess, the older that I have gotten, the less I move, and by virtue of administrative and duties and being under in front of a computer, I sit more. But I've gotten smart. Most of the time, I am not sitting on a regular chair like this. I am sitting on something that's a weird-looking exercise. So when I sit, I have to use my core muscles to be sitting straight. And if I make slight movements, I'm exercising my core. So I'm getting some movement. Also, I've installed some mini platforms on top of my desk so that every 15 minutes, if I'm still in my chair, guess what? I'm standing for another 15 minutes. That is important. Even if you're standing, you're not walking rapidly, you're not running, you're not doing house cleaning. But even if you're standing, that's better than prolonged sitting. I've heard some people say prolonged sitting is like smoking in terms of detriments to your body. Now there are some innovative things you can do to force yourself to walk. So if I'm alone, I will sometimes purposely park way at the end of a strip mall parking lot when I know I want to go to the store at the other end. I do that intentionally because I want to get those steps in. And by the way, there's a lot of controversy now that says you don't necessarily need to get 10,000 steps in every day. That's a goal. Most people don't do that. But if you get in steps in the thousands every day, that is a good thing. So in my clinic, sometimes people call me the ever-ready bunny after that battery, because I'm always going back and forth and back and forth. Again, I do that intentionally. Sometimes I will take kind of a circular route around the clinic, and people are wondering, why are you rushing? Why are you walking? Because I know that's how I'm going to get my activity and my steps in. So you have to be inventive, and you have to do what works for you. Now, there's a couple other ideas, but I don't want to be the only one that shares an idea. So I want another person to give me an example of what you can do to do exercise. And it doesn't have to be sophisticated. It's simple.
Since I have therapy, which I do now, before I even get out of the bed, I'm doing some stretches, some leg lifts, just stretching my legs, and just kind of going side to side, while I'm just lying down, and just doing some exercise right there in the bed even before I get up. And that's something they taught me to help build up my muscles and things like that. So.
That is perfect, because again, movement, whether it's stretching, lifting up your leg, that is what burns some calories. If you're sitting there not doing anything, you're not burning calories. Great. How many of you, when you have the opportunity to walk up a small flight of stairs versus taking the elevator, will take the small flight of stairs?
I do sometimes. I can't say all the time.
All right, yeah. And that's good. Not everyone is able to do that due to maybe some underlying knee problems or hip problems, or arthritis and ankle joints. But you notice I said a small flight of stairs. I had a girlfriend who recently came back from a trip to Europe, and she went to Italy, and Europeans walk a lot more than we do. And she was sharing her experience, saying, boy, there's a lot of walking on that tour. She said, I think we probably walked the equivalent of 5 miles. And that's something you have to think about when you sign up for a tour, because it does a lot of walking, involve a lot of walking. But she was up for it, and she enjoyed herself. But again, it shows the difference culturally between us here in the U.S. and other countries. In 2013, I went back to school to get a Master's of Health Administration. And I did that because I wanted to learn more about the business of medicine, especially insurance. And that's when the Affordable Care Act had been passed and the implementation was rolling out. And what I discovered is that Americans, for example, order more things like knee MRIs, and they do more knee replacements and hip replacements than other places by far. And Americans make up less than 15% of the population, but they consume 85 to 90% of the narcotic pain meds. And that's because other countries have different philosophies about exercise and how to manage pain. So in 2008, I spent several weeks in Japan, and typically, post-operatively, they routinely do not give pain medicines. That's kind of scary. They use massage, meditation, music, but my understanding is they made some allowances for Americans because Americans aren't used to dealing with pain other than medication. But I do want to share with you that there are modalities that do work and assist with pain. You just have to be open to it. I'm checking to see how much time I have. Good, okay. So pain is individual. What may be painful to you may not be painful to someone else. I'm going to say that it has been my experience that the female sex in general deals with pain better than the other sex. And that may be because of having babies, having menstrual cycles, and being accustomed to pain, or maybe being too busy to take care of other people to notice and take care of their pain. But that just shows me You can still have pain and manage it and function and still have a whole life. But there are modalities like music and dance and music. And I mention this because there's science underneath it. I don't want to bore you, but when you do something consistently for about 20 minutes, whether it be hula hooping or jogging or riding a bike or swimming, there are some things in your body that are released called endorphins. Some people call those the good feel substances. I no longer run marathons, but when I was stationed at Wright Pat, I ran some marathons and half marathons, and I didn't run in high school. I wasn't an athlete, but it's hard to be stationed at Wright Pat, right, and not get caught up in the marathon. But as I was training, what I discovered is after running for about 20 minutes, I felt so good. I mean, it was amazing. I didn't take any feel-good medication. I didn't take any alcohol. It was the natural elevation of the endorphins just by exercising. I even got to the point that if I had a tough decision to make, or I was anxious because a project wasn't going well, I would just say, okay, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to run for 20 minutes. And again, after about that 20 minutes, and it may be different for others, I would feel better. And maybe that project, I still hadn't figured out what to do, but I wasn't so bound up and stressed. And that's why for a lot of psychological mental health issues, there is a very holistic prescription that may involve not just counseling, but getting out and exercising, because there is underlying science that speaks to that. Okay, so how much physical activity do the experts say we should get? It says that adults between 18 and 64. Well, I'm almost beyond that age range, so does it still apply to me? But I'm just going to say adults. They say that adults should get 150 minutes of moderate exercise every week. Now, what does moderate exercise mean? It means, probably the best example is brisk walking, or they should get 75 minutes of intense exercise, which is like running or playing a hard game of tennis, or a combination of both. So I try to keep things simple for people. I don't want them like trying to add up their exercise and trying to subtract days that they did extra. Just think on most days of the week, so there's 7 days in a week, right? So most days of the week, so more often than not, you should be doing about 30 minutes of something continuously that kind of makes you know you've been exercising. Whether that's walking outside around the block, whether that's doing some intense house cleaning, because lifting and vacuuming for 30 minutes, that can count. But you want to do something that gets the blood going, that keeps you moving, and that energizes you a bit. So you don't need to make it complicated. You can simplify it like that. How many swimmers do we have in here?
I can swim, I haven't swum.
I'm surprised to see that many hands go up. I'm not a great swimmer, but I enjoy it. In 2004, I signed up for a triathlon. Can you believe that? We had to bike 10 miles. We had to swim, I think it was a mile. It was like back and forth 4 times a long pool. And you could do it indoors, which was great because I can't tread water. And so if I got in trouble and you're in open water, you're dead meat, right? And then we had to run we had to run a 5K, swim a mile, and bike 10 miles. What did you think ended up being the hardest thing for me? That was kind of a surprise. The swimming, the running, or the biking?
The swimming.
No.
Biking.
It was a biking. And I share that example because I want to share, when you exercise, think about exercising all of your muscles and doing different types of activities. So when I started training, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't ridden a bike in years. Biking takes different muscles than running, than swimming. And the great thing about this particular marathon, it was at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico. With the swimming part, if you got short out of breath or you thought you were in fear of drowning, you could just go over and hang out to the pool, for 30 seconds or a minute until you got your breath and your wits about you. But I was determined to do this. Number one, most of the time civilians entered this race and very little military, a few military women. So I said, okay, I'm going to break the mold. I am going to do this. So I took swim lessons from 3 different places, including one that was open until like 9 at night. I practiced at the base pool. So I was ready, and I knew that if I got in trouble, I could just go and hold on to the side of the pool. The biking, though, I didn't prepare as well as I should have. I thought at the time I was still fit, but oh, was I embarrassed. Do you know what they did to notify people what age range you were in? Because they gave the awards based on age. They wrote your age on your calf in like some indelible ink, and they put a circle around it. So at the time, I was in like my mid-40s, this is a while back, and I was having women that had 64 on their calf passing me because they had been used to biking and they had trained. Anyway, I made it through and I came in third, the third military female. So I got a prize. But guess what? I think there were only 3 or 4 military females. But I still say that I got a prize. But guess what? It was so much fun. And when you are behind a desk doing administrative command things, when you do something fun, when you do something that incentivizes you, you're more likely to finish. I wasn't a strong swimmer. I hadn't biked in years, but I signed up for this race. Now, what's the difference between a jogger and a serious runner? I heard this question before. A race form. If you turn in a race form, that probably means you're serious to put some effort into it so that you will at least finish the race. So I'm sharing these examples because how you mentally approach physical exercise, how you mentally approach what you put into your body and how you take care of your body is important. It's individual. And that's why I love lifestyle medicine, because you're the one that gets to choose what your priorities are. And your doctor will help you. Your blood pressure, if that top number is above 180, our priority is we need to get it down and you need to eat less salt. But just think of this good collaborative partnership between you and someone that you see periodically, consistently over the years. And I'm going to say you form a partnership, not a doctor-patient relationship, but it is a partnership. I think I'm doing good on time. Yeah. I'm going to just say one other thing. Western doctors, up until recently, and that includes myself, I graduated from medical school in 1985, so almost 40 years ago. We were not taught how to eliminate too much medicine. We were taught to assess, diagnose, and basically write a prescription for it. Now, several years ago, I had 4 jobs, 4 medical jobs all at one time. Not a good decision, but at the time, I was busy and I thought I was working hard. One of my jobs was to review the medication list of mostly elderly people who were in nursing homes. I kid you not. The first time I started this job, I read a chart This individual was like on 21 medications. Ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. If you are on 5 or 6 medications, there will be interactions. It's almost impossible to be on multiple medications more than on one hand and not have any interactions. So go figure. Think about someone who's on 21, 22 medication. And what I noticed, that person was on like 2 or 3 antihistamines. Why do you need to be on 2 or 3 antihistamines? They were on 2 or 3 pain relievers. That's my signal. They were on 2 or 3 doing something for digestion. Part of it was having multiple doctors and then not that they had multiple doctors, or they weren't able to remember to do that. But let's think again about lifestyle medicine and us being more engaged so that we can live healthier and we can focus on prevention so we don't have to get those multiple prescriptions, and then a smart doctor doesn't have to think about, okay, how can I wean down from 12 down to 4? So in a nutshell, that's what I want to present to you. We've talked about the 6 pillars. They are important, and you as an individual uniquely have a power to help control what happens to your body, what goes into your body, and how you want to approach your health care. So thank you for listening to me. Again, this is one of my passions. When I retired for real, I retired from the Air Force about 13 years ago, and I'm still working full time, but when I retire for real, I think this is something that I will be doing, making community health presentations and maybe doing some more mission trips. Again, I'm glad that I have been a part of this first Family Life Conference. I think it is a phenomenal idea. If I were able to stay later today, I would. If I were able to come back tomorrow, I would come back tomorrow. Unfortunately, I can't. But I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I know, thank you all. I know you're going to enjoy what's in store with you. One of the speakers tomorrow works in my clinic, along with Dr. Bev, and she's also a phenomenal speaker. So if you can come back tomorrow, please do. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.